start, the first thing I will be reading for all of you is the work I submitted to Serotonin, which Sean has just linked, Joyful Noise. It is about my experiences as an autistic person and the boredom of being trapped in a line. So I will just go ahead and start reading that one now. Let's see here. Boredom is standing in a line outside of an event hall. You and your sibling have planned this outing weeks in advance. The actual event itself will be memorable, even though you know every sound after it will feel like pins and needles on your brain. Good grief. Even though when you exit the building, the sun will be too bright for your sensitive eyes, and even though you'll need to construct a blanket cocoon and nestle yourself into the heart of its warmth, you know it will all have been worth it. No one's getting in here, you will mutter happily to yourself, reciting a cartoon as well worn and loved as the blankets that surround you. All of those events are tasks set before your future self. Right now, you are bored. And when you are bored, you cluck. You cluck once, low and soft, testing the mood of the crowd around you. No complaints. You cluck again, louder and with more confidence. As you cluck, your brain sets off joyous sparks of light and color, pushing back the boredom and allowing you to focus better on your surroundings. Your sibling looks at you and you smile encouragingly at them. They're not as much of a fan of making chicken noises as you are, but when you start to clap, they join in, keeping you on time to the music you've constructed in your mind. Your sibling shimmies as you jerk your limbs into odd contortions, your soul glowing orange as you clap and cluck. Others in line stare at your strange behavior, but your focus is captured by the notes whirling within your mind, crafting your bird call piece by piece. Life is simply too short to concern yourself with whether or not being a dancing chicken is appropriate behavior while standing in line. Farther ahead, a woman turns around to see what the noise is about, and your eyes meet. You mimic your sibling's shimmy and continue clapping. You can see the bright glow fill her eyes as she begins clapping as well, bopping her head along to the beat. To your delight, a few others join you in your clucking, a cacophonous choir of chickens, cheeping and chirping to the same shared song. You take turns clucking back and forth with the man ahead of you before he succumbs to a fit of giggles. This is so weird, he admits, but continues with his bird song. When at last the doors to the event hall open, an employee pokes their head out to look at the crowd. Was it just me, or did I hear a bunch of clapping and clucking? Your sibling looks at you with a good-natured smile and gives one last shimmy. You throw back your head and belt forth a rooster's cry of affirmation. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. I just looked at the comments. All of my autistic friends really love this story, too. It's a real-life story of clucking. The other story that I have to share with you is an excerpt from a long-term project I'm working on called The Aphrodisi, where I'm translating Homer's Odyssey into African-American vernacular English. So let me just pull that document up. Let's see here. I can't remember, it's been a bit since I looked at this excerpt. I don't believe this section has any swears in it, but as a whole, the Aphrodisi tends to, so if there is one, I do apologize, and I will do my best to modify the language. Oh, okay, let me just take a quick look at it. Okay, no, we're good. Great. Okay, so this is the prologue to the Odyssey. So for the Aphrodisi, it's the same principle. Okay. Holla at me, muse, of a man who was so turnt he done wrecked the holy city of Troy, who then bounced. He peeped all them cities of all those people and came to know them. He took all them L's in his soul and his life and his homies. But even though he wished he could save all his bros, they were a bunch of fools who wrecked themselves, who strolled up into the fields of Helios and completely grubbed on his cows. You know Helios was mad, so he snatched their homecoming from them when they came to his place from some place or other. Now come on, sis, Athena the wise, daughter of Zeus. Spill that tea, hunty. All the rest of them Greeks fled a complete death, and they were chillin' at home having said, forget war and forget Poseidon, getting fed by they wives and whatnot. Man, you know Odie got up in his feelings about this. He wanted to take himself home and see his wife, but the sea kept him from it. Not to mention poor girl Calypso, that glowing goddess who longed for Odie to be her husband. A whole year went by, and the gods got together to finally decide to let Odie go home. Well, all of them except Poseidon. Poseidon could not stand Odysseus, and he was mad for days. And since he is basically the ocean, that meant Odie ain't going home, natch.